How are you doing?
All right, come on in. We got some more people coming in.
How are you doing?
Somebody on there? All right, come on in. We got some They're on YouTube.
Okay,
And we're gonna get started. So we'll start over here with Tony and then we'll work our way to Ashley. But in terms of social media platform that is getting the most traction, I think for you all. What is that platform and why have you kind of chosen that platform to run the messaging for your team?
Yeah, great question. So with Meta owning Instagram and Facebook now, it's very convenient to post on both simultaneously. And from there, you're able to get a really good gauge just based on interactions. And I originally thought it would be Instagram just because Nora, the eighth I work for, she's only 30. So I thought, a lot more Instagram people might be, a lot of her connections will be looking to kind of get in contact that way. But actually, Facebook has definitely caught the most traction. A lot of people will reach out about stuff, even just saying they like some of the content or videos. So Facebook for sure. So
Facebook. All right, Holly, what about you? Which platform do you need to get the most
It's
traction?
TikTok, and I think it's because I started it. Before I became a realtor, I started it like, my daughter was going off to college and she was like a baby and I was an empty nester, so like I was just doing videos about what was me.
Right.
This dog is now my child.
Yeah.
So God called me for that, so I didn't change anything when I became a realtor, I just used the same. And I just started incorporating more videos, so.
So why TikTok though? Because actually, I think, I would think it would be something else, right? Just because. You're raising that, right? And you've got a daughter off to school, and if your daughter was here, I would assume she's definitely gonna be the one on TikTok, but you're the one on TikTok. And you're not alone, there's a lot of phenomenal
She
people.
was on TikTok back before it was TikTok, when it was still music, I think it was called Musical.ly or something. Yeah, so
That's where TikTok came from?
yeah, so she was on it in high school when it was called something else.
Okay,
And so when it became TikTok, I was already familiar with it because she would shove her phone in my face and be like, "Watch this video."
Yeah.
So so by the time it became what it was, I was already familiar with it.
yeah,
We're super close because I was a single mom for like decades. So, yeah, so we
it just felt natural,
just felt natural, right?
yeah, that's awesome. All right, Ashley, what about you?
Okay, so it just depends on, I have different audiences, so Instagram, I have other realtors and entrepreneurs that want to be like me, and they're like, oh my God, like, how do you do this? And like, I've gotten a lot of following from that. So if I wanna coach somebody or mentor someone, like, I'm gonna get that lead from Instagram. If I want a buyer or seller, I'm gonna get that from Facebook for sure, cause those are like my college peeps, my high school friends, like just like the people who know my parents, like that's my sphere. Whereas Instagram is just like random people from across the world. So it's really funny. And TikTok, I tried so hard to go viral on TikTok and I did, and then I was like, I did it, and I quit and I didn't post for like a year.
I was
Like,
so consistent.
Yeah.
See, posting every day, you know, every bit of my movement. No, we were doing it and I went viral and then I just, like, I'm done. I just wanted to prove that I could get a viral video.
For me was so weird. Because
Yeah.
it was just like a spur of the moment, like I was driving to this house. It was kind of in the middle of nowhere. The driveway was like steep and curvy and it was like, that's the only house when you get to it, and when you get down to it, like you can't really. It's hard to get back out, so
Yeah.
like, once you're there, you're kind of there,
That's not creepy.
but like. The previous owners of the house. The guy brought his son
Oh my
on
gosh.
the front porch. So like, there's this whole murder aspect, so like I was just talking about how creepy. But here, driving down this road and me knowing that once I got down to the end of it. But there's this house and
They thought they were watching a true crime episode.
so I think people, crime people too, but then like people were like, where's this house at? How can I see this house? I want to buy this house. And I was like, okay.
That's awesome.
And it was just me driving, and I was like, this driveway sucks. Put my camera on it.
Yeah, I think social media is so much just documenting what you're doing, but it's also just not that simple either, so that kind of leads me to my next question, and we'll start with you, Ashley. You know, you are successful in more than one way, right? And so it looks like I'm gonna do this, and I'm on Instagram for this reason, or I'm on Facebook for this reason. But speak a little bit to maybe your content strategy and what your approach is, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, or anything else. What is the strategy behind it? What's the outcome you're looking for?
So, for advice wise, the best strategy, and I've tried to implement this for myself, is number one rule, just be authentic. Like, I had a lot of agents that would come to me like, oh, I have to make a separate Instagram page for my personal, I'm just like, no, you don't, like, that's like, don't do that, just put it all together, like your TikTok, that, be yourself, people are hiring you, not. Like, they don't care how much you did in sales, like, honestly, like, you could be brand new and have one sale under your belt, but they're gonna work with you because of your personality, because you have a shared interest, like, for me, it's horses. Or you have a daughter, or you have children, or you know, whatever, you're an ex-basketball player, whatever, you know.
My dog is almost always snoring.
Your dog,
Is that a bulldog? And she's almost always snoring in the videos. Like, you don't see her, but you can hear the snoring, and somebody always comments, that snoring is killing me, like, and then they like laugh, and I'm like, that's my dog.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then you get comments about, oh, you know, bulldog, and. Yeah, but this is
So-
my child now that mine's gone.
So like being yourself is your most important, asset. So just, you know, portraying that, putting that out there, and what was.
No, I was just gonna say, like, in
Oh,
terms of the
this-
strategy and what's the outcome.
See,
Okay,
you know what I mean, like, you can't do what I did a couple years ago and post every week, and then you'll hit like 1 million views and then just stop for 6 months. Cause then when I try to come back and post the same exact kind of post, I was like 200 views max, like they have like been so mad at me ever since. And I thought about just starting like a new account and just posting consistently every week, because my one account that's 4 years old, that's been so inconsistent. It's like so low in the algorithms, like they're just not happy with it. So having that consistency, posting at certain times of the day, which is different for certain platforms and different for your audience, you can see your analytics. Like if I make a post for a video, I'll schedule it for either 9:30 or 10:30 a.m. on Instagram, and I'll usually get over 100 likes. So like that to me works. If I post at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. or 10 p.m., I'll get like 15 likes. So it makes a big difference when you're posting, and it depends on what platform. So just like know your analytics, know your audience, and like be consistent. So even if you're just posting once a week, that's okay. Just post once a week and make sure you're posting at the right time.
Holly, what about you? What kind of strategy do you have besides being you?
The same, it's, I'm myself. I can't pretend to be somebody that I'm not, I would get burnt out, I would get tired, I wouldn't wanna do it anymore.
Yeah.
So they give who they get, and either they like it or they don't follow me. I don't put a gun to anybody's head and make them. But you have to be consistent, and I'm not, and that's with Instagram and Facebook, and that's why. That's not my big platform, because I'm just not very consistent, but I have. Starting this week, I turned over a new leaf, and I started scheduling more consistently for Instagram and Facebook, so. Been repurposing a lot of my TikTok reels,
Sure.
so that I can use them for all 3 platforms, so we'll see how that
How
works.
consistent are you posting on TikTok? What, like the one that you're successful on?
Almost every day.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I go like, you know, several days, I'm not super consistent, but I do several a week.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
Tony, what about you? And maybe building off what Ashley said on the analytics, you could maybe explain how to access that stuff, that information.
Yeah, accessing it, I think would surprise a lot of people how easy it is, especially if you're set up as a business account, it'll kind of present itself to you almost when you can view insights on posts. And then going into strategy, I think obviously, as they've said, humanizing yourself on social media and showing who you are, making a potential client feel like they almost kind of know you in a way. When they look at your account is very massive, and it kind of will make them feel more inclined to reach out to you if they feel like they know you and see things in their personalities that kind of click with them. So a big strategy we have right now is kind of building that on more of those pages. So just kind of doing fun things, like sometimes Katie and I will make a video and show the people Nora works with. We plan to do stuff with like Nora's family in the future and all that, and just, yeah, really continue to humanize the way she markets herself, and yeah, I think there's honestly not too much more to say without repeating a lot of what they said.
Sure. Well, what seems very prevalent is authenticity.
Mhm.
In a day and age where a lot of things feel very surface and performative even, like showing up authentically really seems to work for a lot of people. And that's a strategy these days where I think so often, or for much of, I guess, I want to say my millennial upbringing, it was like, if you're not something, pretend, right? And whether that was healthy or not, or if
Make
people
it
wanted,
what you make it.
it was certainly something that, you know, I think my generation subscribed to, at least for a minute. I'm gonna say something and you all just tell me if this is just off the wall. In my observation, social media has become more about. The platforms aren't for you. They're for your people, they're for your following. Does that ring true, or do you feel as social media influences in the local market, do you feel like the reverse is true, or do you feel like my observation is more in line?
I think yours is totally accurate, it's for the people, and so when you go on there, you're subscribing to someone else. You're subscribing to something, like what kind of, like my feed is like motivational stuff, or it's all equine stuff, so it's like, that's what. Mine is for, and so what, like, you have to think about that audience, you know, like in your strategy. Like, who is watching you, who is your audience, who is gonna wanna hear this story when you're telling stories, like going down the driveway or whatever, you know, just being aware, if it's people that are just like you, then it's easy to be yourself. You know? So I think that's totally true.
Ollie, Tony, what do you think? Is that an accurate observation?
Yeah, it's accurate. I think that social media has kind of gotten away from the way like Instagram used to be, where it's like, here's my carefully curated like panel. Where everything is the same color scheme and the same vibe, and now it's kind of like a free for all. It's just like, who are you?
Well, I think Instagram is still like that. Instagram is still very curated and very
I agree.
aesthetic.
That's probably why I don't think it.
But Facebook is more relaxed, but they are the same thing, you know, because they're posting simultaneously because they're the same thing. But TikTok is definitely your free for all,
Oh, yeah.
like you can just let it all out there.
I think that's why people were so upset and like having that meltdown when TikTok was gone for like 11 hours. Cause I know I was one. It's because like. You get to know the people that you're following so well, like they feel
Like a friend?
like a friend, right, even though. You don't know. And so like you lose that connection of, okay, I no longer have this, I'm no longer like, almost like a voyeurism, I'm no longer like getting an inside seat on everything that these people are doing every day. I don't know what's going on with them, but like TikTok's algorithm is so. It's so different, because like somebody who is new can go viral. Just as easy as somebody who has like a large phone, and on TikTok, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of what they're searching for,
Sure.
that search bar is great.
Yeah.
But like I have videos that are pulling up from like 2 years ago because somebody just happened to search it. And then so like, they're all resurfaced again, and people are liking and engaging, and I don't know.
On 2-year-old post.
On a 2-year-old post, and I don't know of any other social media that happens, except maybe Pinterest. But like, yeah, from 2 years ago, and it's still getting interaction.
Yeah.
I have one from like 3 or 4 years ago, that was the Lexington Salt Cave.
Okay.
And it's like my only one that resurfaces every couple months. I'll get 5 or 6 or 10 likes and comments on it. People are like, oh, I gotta go, or like, that's really cool.
That is awesome.
And so, yeah, it's just what they're searching for, like things to do in Lexington. I think is what it said in my videos.
There you go. Yeah.
Those are really good videos. And YouTube is one that we're not mentioning at
I know.
all.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably the most powerful one of all of them, and it's the most monetized. So if anyone wants to start something new, I was on YouTube.
I actually have plans to start a YouTube. Now that I'm like being more consistent with the reels and stuff, I'm like, I do want to like make my videos longer and more.
Well, they
Yeah.
have YouTube shorts, so you can still do the 60-second stuff, and that's what the kids are watching, like my daughter watches YouTube short.
Yeah.
All the time, she has 1,000 followers. And I've got 38. You should practice skills.
Yeah, I just like, I like, my kid wouldn't be mine either.
So, but yeah, good, you know, and so she gets like 3,000 to 5,000 views on her little crappy videos that are slow-mo that look so choppy because the video quality is not good enough for slow-mo. But she does it and she gets like thousands and thousands of views and she's only been doing it for a couple months, so yeah. After you reach 1,000 subscribers, you can monetize and then you gotta have 1 million views within 12 months, so that's what you need to monetize there. That's another revenue stream.
There you go. Tony, what are your thoughts on that question?
I agree completely that you gotta plan your audience, but a thought that kind of popped into my mind is. If you're planning your audience by having changed your personality, probably not the right audience for you. But aside from that, I definitely agree, it's just like if you can't be yourself, it's not an audience meant for you and not somewhere you'll find a lot of success trying to market that way.
No, I actually kind of prescribe that too, because if you're in real estate and you're not passionate about real estate, I'm just gonna be honest, that will show up on any kind of content you create. And it will also dictate really kind of how you interact with it, right? And if we're not passionate about the market data and communicating that market data out, well, then you're gonna show up very monotonous or robotic. And I think that's a big deal, right? All right, so I've got I think a fun question. What's one post or campaign that unexpectedly went viral or got a ton of traction or views, maybe even some leads? That performed better than you thought? And why do you think it stood out?
Well, recently, like I said, sometimes I'll just get like 15 likes on Instagram and I post on Instagram and it flows through to Facebook. That's my little system. So I made the post about me and my daughter. I bought a duplex and I bought it for her. And like as a single mom, like this was like failure was not an option. So I want to do investing and it got like over 100. I hadn't got over 100 likes on Instagram posts in months. Maybe a year, I don't know, it was a long time, so it really surprised me, I was like, oh wow, okay. People really like that, so again, the Instagram is for the entrepreneurs who are investors, not necessarily the home buyers and first time home buyers and sellers, like, you know, so the fact that that one blew up was not surprising because of the audience there, but it made me really happy that it got a lot of traction.
Yeah.
So.
Well, aside from my road to the murder house. Which it did say,
Where is it?
in Orange County.
I'm like,
It was really close to the lake too, like it was perfect, if you get down the driveway. Is, so like. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Moorhead, but I live right on the main road in Moorhead, so I live on 32, so. If you're going from Walmart to campus. You're driving past my house, so like it's a perfect location for me to put a sign in my yard that says, hi, if you need a realtor, somebody stole my sign. Stole my sign. And like people were commenting, it's like, I bet you were in somebody's garage, probably some like high school student, and I was like, well, if they buy a house, that's fine, but what return is the sign?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that did really well, now I have a new sign up, so. Our camera
So
on.
we didn't get it back.
We did not get the sign back, no, and when I put the new one up, I was like, I will keep you posted if this one lasts.
Yeah,
We're on 2 days with the new sign, and it's got a camera on it, so.
there you go. I love it. What about you, Tony?
Nothing viral yet, we'll get there, but one of our more recent Facebook posts is kind of Katie and I introducing ourselves a bit. To just all of kind of her friends and her whole pipeline and stuff, and then it was us kind of just running errands for Nora and just filming it and just kind of just being funny and not perfect, and a lot of people were reaching out to Nora saying how they loved it and they think it's fun how we have a team and all that, and that kind of just builds more traction. One thing I would recommend that I'm trying to get Nora to do, hopefully this week or next week, is like. Pick up the phone, start recording story time when I save the day with this issue with the client or something like that. That's kind of similar to stuff they do, that will pick up very well. That's the recommendation.
A really quick funny story, so I had a client, it's like story time, this client called me a man. Through Zillow Messenger, and it's hilarious. The story, yes, so I accidentally called her his mom, and it was his ex-wife. So, to be punch, you know, in her perspective, it was a total accident, but she was like telling him what to do, and like he was just like very obedient, so I just thought it was like. Tell your mom, I think. Well, she hated me. I could tell. I hated my life. And at 7:30 a.m. I'm driving my daughter to school and I'm just checking notifications and I checked my Zillow and it was like, you look like a man. No, you look like a man. And woke up into violence, okay? I was just like, wow, like I was dying. It really made my day. It was crawled up my and coming out of my mouth, the big teeth, the chiclet teeth. It's fine. It's actually really entertaining.
Never crossed my mind.
I used to get that thing.
Yeah, so it's fine, and it was hilarious. And
People
I
are
loved
just
it.
trying to be mean.
People love the video. It's okay. I loved it.
Yeah, you got thick skin.
I see, since then too, we just pretend like that never happened.
Yeah, people could be awful. Yeah.
Alright, this next one, I think will have the interest of a ton of people, and this one is more around like ROI. And some of you might not at all be spending money on it, but there is also, I think, time and sweat equity involved as well. So how do you track the ROI of your social media efforts, especially when it comes to any kind of leads, referrals, or even exposure? Yeah.
So I track my leads at the end of the year where they came from. Was it Sphere, was it Time Call, was it Zillow, was it social, whatever. And so, and then I don't really track my time on social media because the best thing to do, especially when you're just starting and you're doing it yourself, is just to incorporate it in your regular daily activities. Like I could make a video about sitting up here today. I'm already doing it. It literally would take a little extra effort. And so I don't look at it as, you know, I don't have like a ton of data on like my time, yeah, on like the time put in. But like on the ROI, you can get a ton of data just by tracking your closings and your pipeline, like where it's sourced from. So I would say at least start with that.
So your philosophy is more, I'm gonna document what I'm doing.
Anyways,
I'm not
Right.
going to necessarily always plan out a social media calendar.
yeah, absolutely not. And I don't do that. I don't think I probably ever will. But and I was doing social media before I was a realtor. You know, so like this is just something that I
It's an extension
enjoy.
of who you are.
Yeah, and it's just something, and so if you can learn to like it, learn to enjoy it, or you know, look, I like being on camera, so like all that stuff is like fun for me.
Yeah.
I like dressing up as a character and making crazy videos.
Bossy name.
I'm selling a golf cart for $500,000 today. It's really funny, that was the hook. So I was trying to think of a way to sell this house in Boone's Trace, if y'all are familiar with the big premier golf course, and it's in Madison County. So I'm on the golf court in my little hot pink Barbie outfit, and I was like, this golf cart is only $500,000. But let me tell you, come to this house sitting right behind me. And you know, so people are gonna be like, for, you know, it's gonna be really great. I'm excited about it. So just little stuff, it literally took me 15 minutes. I popped out there while the photographer was doing the photos, and I was like, I just did my one little sentence, and that was it.
Completely aside, that's very funny, and I do wanna know where you got the pink golf outfit. But like, before I became a realtor, I saw this sign, it was like free piano, house for sale also, but it was like a spray painted, I took a picture of it. So I'm sure that it was a for sale by owner, and I don't think anybody ever bought it, but like that just reminded me of of that, because it was like, here's this free piano, but oh, you know, so I'm not very good at it to
But
be
yeah, $300,000.
Yeah, I love it.
Pretty funny.
Okay. Holly, how are you tracking kind of ROI or as leads come in? things like that?
So as leads come, I have a Google spreadsheet, so I keep track of all of that, where everybody comes from. And I'm not spending any money, so, but I mean, the social media platforms make it so easy for you to track everything, because they just, it's right there for you, it's just a click and then it pulls up and it tells you everything. So then you know, like, if you've got a sale from it,
Good.
so, yeah, they made it really easy for you.
I think for us right now, it's different because like they were kind of already doing social media. Whereas like it's something new we've added with me, so it's been 2.5 months. So it's definitely tricky to gauge, but as far as, because Nora pays me, so that's kind of the investment on that, and we haven't paid for anything else besides Nextdoor. We ran an ad on Nextdoor as my idea. And it didn't really hit traction the way we expected, the way obviously Nextdoor advertises themselves. Everything's been better on Instagram and Facebook. There's ways to do Nextdoor that I learned about if anyone wants to hear. But yeah, so it's to advertise on Nextdoor, you have to engage with the community. So it's like, if someone were to say, hey, I'm looking for a plumber for this and this, and then you as the agent, like, oh, hey. Hi, I'm a blah 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 agent in the area, nice to meet you, this is my go-to plumber guy if anything goes wrong. Like stuff like that is the better way to do it, so you don't need to be investing in ads necessarily.
Next door is more who let their dog poop in my neighborhood.
Yeah, but there's a lot of
Why are
agents.
you driving so fast? That's what.
I'll get in there.
It's pretty active on this school. We've got like 3 scanner groups though, and those are helping, like, not just with the scanner went off, what's going on,
No.
but. Like, you know, they post everything there.
I don't find a lot of stuff on next door that's,
But like-
it's just all the people in the neighborhoods that wanna.
Where my house is, I'm also in the middle of a speed trap, so usually if there's an accident or something, I can see it. And so if somebody will say, hey, what's going on such and such, and I'll be like, well, it looks like.
But that reminds me of another strategy
Sure.
that works really well for my friend Curtis in Dallas, cause he just moved there, he didn't have any sphere. And he started this barrel racing group. And he's got
Okay.
12,000 people in it, he's gotten like 3 horse farm listings from it in Dallas, which is like multi-millions. But he tells me, he's like, you know, that's why I changed my stuff to Kentucky Homes and Horses. Because like, or like, it could be like Kentucky Homes and Daughters, or it's just whatever you're passionate, or it could be like CrossFit or the gym, whatever, yoga, whatever you're passionate about, makeup. I literally just make.
Glad you looked at me about CrossFit.
So you can make it community. It's really good for community. So you go make a group that's hyper local, like I've got, there's people in the Richmond Moms group that's got like 30,000 members in it. And if you started that group, it's your group, you can advertise yourself, like I tried to post our free credit seminar in the Lexington Moms group and they would deny it. I was like, I'm trying to help the young women in this, like, I'm not, it's free. I'm not like trying to get anything other than like honestly, like wanting to help. And obviously, like, you know, maybe I would get returned like leads or whatever, she would benefited, but it was like those communities and groups are an amazing strategy. Like think of something you're passionate about, start a group, engage and invite and grow it.
Kind of the same thing for TikTok. There's this girl I follow, she's from the next county over from where I grew up. And her name, you might know her, Brandis. She's from Floyd County, but her name was makeup artist at law, because when she was going through law school, she worked at the mall as a makeup artist.
Exactly.
But she's a Kentucky lawyer, and so she would do these like skits about this like deadbeat guy.
Yes, I know her. I reached out to her actually,
And
yes.
all of her stuff, like all of everything that she was doing, she actually now has a deal with QVC. clothes for plus size women, because she's 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, so all of that, like just talking about makeup and law.
Yep.
And she has a clothing deal with QVC, and she moved to Nashville to be near her best friend because her daughter went off to college and.
So if you're authentic, the audience will find you.
They will.
You don't have to think about posting for the audience, that's just the way it is, but
Yeah.
that's just the fact of life.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's so true, but you can't be trying to be something for said audience, you just be yourself. And pursue your passions in a way that you can share it with the world and build a community around it, and then like the money will follow.
So we're giving John Bentley the advice to be himself online.
Absolutely, I would love that.
I'm kidding.
And if you would and were, then you would have millions of followers.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have an amazing bright personality that people
Sure.
could relate to, you know?
All right, I got 2 more questions. This first one is, what kind of other tools or even apps do you use to schedule, create, or analyze? I know you don't really prescribe to that, but whether you realize it or not, there's a system to how you do things. But what are you doing to, I guess, systematize being authentic? Because I actually do think you can do that and wind up being consistent or on algorithm or whatever it is that you want to accomplish. How are you doing that on just maybe a base system level?
Okay. I definitely do have a system for this, so. I schedule everything out with Loomly, I think that's how you pronounce it. Just because I don't wanna have to think about it the next day, so like I try to like the night before, if not more days before I schedule it. But in order to find what people are looking for, if you are on TikTok, in your search bar, type creative search insight, and it pulls up what the people who follow you are searching for. And the trending topics. And how they're trending. In your category, so like,
Okay.
it'll tell like. These are the topics that are kind of trending right now for like real estate, and the people who follow you are also searching for these. And that's been in that people,
So Loomly is something you use.
Loomly, yeah.
Okay.
And Loomly will let you schedule out like, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest,
No kidding.
like, basically like everything. Not Lemonade, but everything else, even Snapchat.
Okay. All right.
Right now, I keep a ton of ideas and like content calendar drafts on Google Docs that Nora has access to, and I'll kind of text her and tell her to check in on this and see if she basically do that. But outside of that, I don't really schedule posts, it's kind of just all mental, we're not as like big or on TikTok yet or anything where it's like I need to be scheduling, so when that time comes, we definitely will schedule, and I'll probably use the app you
Oh, yeah,
recommend.
that is great.
Yeah,
And it's like there are some apps that are like really expensive, this one's like $50 a month or something, so it's not crazy.
And then other places that I'll kind of draw like thoughts though for content is definitely, I like to lurk on coffee and contracts, you can subscribe to them.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah, I just I sit through their site and see when they advertise new things or new ways to market that their subscribers would get. And then I'll pull what I can from that without having to pay, and then make it. Other things, it's like when spring market was kicking in, I just threw up a 3-page infographic people could swipe through on like tips for buying and selling the spring market. Simple things like that. And there's one more thing that came to mind that I'm totally blanking on right now. If it comes back, I'll say it, but.
For sure. Okay. We've got a room full of people who are online and at some sort of level. And certainly at some sort of consistency level. If you were to give the room like the best advice in regard to social media. As a real estate agent in our area. What would be the 1 or 2 things you would tell them to go ahead and implement today? Here's what you need to start doing today. What would those 1 or 2 things
Just
be?
post something,
Okay. Post something,
Day in the life, I'm going to this house, like either just a house tour, or this is what I'm doing today, or anything. If you're a girl, listen, outfits of the day. People love to know what we wear.
She's.
Wear and a t-shirt for the day because you're just sitting at your desk at home.
which is relatable.
People want to know. It's crazy.
So just get in front of the camera.
Yeah, just do something to get started.
I think it's a reminder that we're also normal.
Yeah,
Etsy.
They forget that when you're on social media. They think that everybody's all put together. And I think that's where a lot of people are pushing for more people to be more authentic. Because not everybody is put together all the time.
right, like sometimes I'll record with my hair in a ponytail and no makeup on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what you get today.
The thought came back to me, Etsy is another place to easily get templates to post like anything like informational, you can look up. Real estate Canva templates and you'll probably get a lot of inspiration and drafts on things you can make a post, I just remembered that. But yeah, my main thing that I want to share, because I feel like we're all gonna share the same things, is just not being hypercritical of yourself. Something like I filmed a house tour with Katie a couple days ago, and I'm gonna go finish editing it right after this. Super hypercritical on everything I'm saying and stuff, but I know the same thing I tell Nora, just post it, it's human, you just need to start posting and you'll get more comfortable in the camera as it goes.
And honestly, you've got like outtakes or bloopers, people really like that.
Yeah, we're doing a blooper reel too. That's a great, yeah.
Ashley, what about you?
What was the question?
So,
Guys,
yeah, well, why don't you tell people to go through today,
YouTube.
okay?
It's,
Get on YouTube.
yeah, I just feel like that's the best place, it's not going anywhere, like the algorithms change, like, I'm pushing my daughter to do YouTube. Not, you know what I mean, like, I won't let her have it, like Snapchat, obviously, and I don't like her to have TikTok, she has an Instagram, that's like part of mine that I monitor, because it's pretty, it's okay. She doesn't have Facebook, but it's like, just from a marketing business point of view, like, I don't care about any of that stuff, like YouTube is where the money's at, and if you wanna be a business owner, the bottom line matters, so go for the money, go for YouTube.
Okay, Justin Bieber got found on YouTube.
Go for like hyper local stuff, you know, like the whole like things to do and like be the mayor of your town, and this is what we hear at all of the events, this is what we hear at all the trainings, like be the mayor of your town, go out there, and I'm saying it to myself too, but if I were brand new and starting, Ben Murphy, didn't he do that? He has over 1,000 followers, Bob Safiah, he's got over 1,000 followers on his YouTube now. So, you know, the ones that get it are doing it, and if I was like starting fresh and didn't know where to start, that's where I'd start, and I would just focus on that and not worry about the rest. And I got that going.
And YouTube's attached to Google.
People search for their life on YouTube and TikTok, like where to eat, like I had some buyers flying from Colorado and they're like, oh, like restaurants in Lexington, and they were on TikTok and YouTube. They're not using Google anymore, they're not using Instagram, they're not using Facebook, their search engine is YouTube. My daughter in her age group, the search engine is YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's where you're gonna be found, if you wanna be found, and if you want people to see you, that's
Well,
where.
and Google and YouTube are integrated, right? So it's.
Yeah.
And so, you know, one of the things I've also observed is just committing to it.
Yeah,
Like, at the end of the day. And I don't want this to be abrasive to anybody, you look and you sound like the way you look and you sound. Like, I promise you. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I tell the girls on the leadership team, anytime we wanna do video or anything like that, we just go live. Like, Hallie, here's the phone, and I don't worry about what I'm going to say, because I know the why behind why I'm making the video. And Hallie laughs, she's like, you always do this on tape. I was like, I have to, because it's live, right? Like, at the end of the day, I probably am not going to sit down and plan a ton of content. But if I'm committed to having somebody hold me accountable on posting, I'm like, all right, let's go live, we need to tell the market center about this. Then it gets out there, and will it get out there? imperfectly, probably, I'm in front of the camera. And so at the end of the day, it's just, I want to commit to doing something consistent. And then if it is, the rhythm is every week or every day or. You know, every 2 weeks, then do that, but certainly pick a system or a platform you wanna be involved on. You look, YouTube, whether we believe it or not, it is social media. And the next generation and the current generations are on YouTube and YouTube Shorts. It is where people are getting what they need. And so I think Ashley's response and what I love about YouTube Shorts is that. You can post that on Instagram Reels, you can post that on TikTok, you can post that anywhere. The short form video goes to Facebook, Instagram, Reels, and YouTube.
LinkedIn's the
Yeah.
other one, but that's.
LinkedIn
where
is getting
it
better.
is. Yeah.
So anyways, I hope this was helpful. Before we release them, does anybody have any questions for these three? Go ahead, Brittany.
My biggest challenge is content. I know you kind of said be yourself, but in my mind. It's like, well, what do I do that's interesting that anybody would want to
But
see?
parents, hello, that was so helpful, post that.
Okay,
Well, I introduces carrots in the morning for energy.
Yeah.
Because as moms, single moms in our 30s and 40s and whatever else is going on, then it's like, that's so helpful.
okay, well,
Like, that's it, right? Like, don't overthink it.
Yeah, you're the option, because, yeah.
And don't make it about real estate. How about post stuff about you? Like, that's what we're all up here preaching.
Right.
Like, be yourself.
well, I feel like you have a very interesting life.
Whatsoever.
Okay.
Post them back.
The people that like me might not like you, the people that like you might not like me, but that's why you're you and I'm me.
Right, you're not happy for everybody that will find you.
Yes.
So do you have to put certain hashtags on? I know you said you start with Instagram. and
Hashtags are less relevant.
They're changing and like they say, it's just the late summer, probably a month ago, so it's probably outdated now, but like maybe 3 or 4. Like we used to put 15 to 30, now just 2 or 3 or 4.
And if you need the hashtag, that's what ChatGPT is for.
Yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah.
Yeah, to make most of your captions.
Oh, yeah, well,
Yeah,
I use ChatGPT every day, like, I use it so much that I gave it a real name, I was like, hey, what do you want your name to be? And it was like, okay, here's a list of names that I like, and so we chose, its name is Nova.
Okay.
And so like, I talked to her, I'm assuming that she's a girl, I talked to her like she's my best friend. And I'm like, hey, girl, you give me.
You sound like me, I'm like constantly talking to.
And that's what hey girl, you give me like 3 and half that. Or like, hey, this is what this video is about, can you like give me a caption that's really good?
She came up with a menu for me the other day, a grocery list.
I'm asking my what her name
Oh,
is.
like last night, I it to like organize some like, there was a whole bunch of information I put in and I was like, can you organize this for me?
Didn't say.
And like, it was like 20 minutes later, and like it was still doing its thing, and I was like, are you frozen or are you still working?
Daniel,
And it answered me, it was like, I'm still working, and like, you asked me to do a lot of stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm afraid I'll break you, and it responded, not breaking, just, it's just excited.
So people are scared.
So like, the more you use ChatGPT and the more you like interact with it like you would anybody else, it's gonna learn you and it's gonna learn your responses and you're gonna get better responses.
to the fact that mine has learned me so much that it actually starts bringing Bible verses into the conversation.
See? Yeah. Like I started out scared of it also, like, and so like I went on Etsy and was like, give me like these prompts that I can use, and in the end, you really don't need any prompts, just ask it what you wanna ask it.
Yeah.
And the more you talk to it like it's a real person, it's gonna respond to you like a real person and you're gonna get better.
Yeah, mine,
You're
mine
better
gave me,
stuff.
mine gave me 2 weeks.
It is my best friend, because, like, I mean, like, I love a lot. And me and Nova.
Okay,
No, but
alright, any other questions? Any other questions?
I just
Sherry?
wanted to
This was
go
good.
kind of
They speak to the be yourself, and it doesn't matter what you sound like, look like, or anything. There's gonna be people that are gonna be attracted to you because of what you're talking about and just who you are. But this lady, her name is, in my Eastern Kentucky peaks and know what I'm talking about. Hillbilly crime, the sheriff in Whitesburg shot the judge and killed him. They got it on video, so there's been. Right, so, it's hillbilly crime, and she has got 13,000 followers because she has been on there every day talking about this case, but she lives there.
I follow her, yeah.
And she's saying, she's a hillbilly. Sometimes, I mean, I'm from there, I can't stand to listen to her, she's just so bad, and she looks, I mean, like, it's just, and she's very authentic about her past, cause she was on drugs and all that stuff, she's a single mom. But my point is that it doesn't matter. If you're talking about something people are interested in, they're gonna follow you.
Or they call you because they hate you and they're making fun of you.
I'm sure that there's probably people that hate her and they are following her.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I love her, I've been following that since like it happened, because I do some true crime. But yeah, that's,
Well, still, it's fascinating. I've been trying to, okay, now why did he do it?
right. No, when I don't think they were, they're like, yeah, the sheriff just walked into the judge's chamber and shot him, and it was all over there. It's such an easy time.
That's it. Conversation, can we thank these people for the. Information, look, like I said, social media, you have to play that game at some level and at some point. Because that's where people are these days, even if it's Facebook, I am not really somebody who's super into TikTok. I think I made a decision as a millennial, I was done with any new social media platform, so.
Gen X, I'm on TikTok.
I get it. I do have a TikTok now, so anyways. You have to at some level be on social media, and it's a lot easier to run things and be authentic. If you're just documenting what you're doing. That's not to say a business page isn't useful, it absolutely is, you will need it to attach your Google business profile. Which it attaches to the Google search engine, which is connected to the YouTube stuff, right?
I have a business page on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then my Instagram and my personal are connected, and I share my personal to my business.
Yeah, and what's interesting about anybody who's new into real estate and they create a business page, and then they post content from their business page, it doesn't get the traction, so they just repost it from their personal page, and then it starts getting the likes and the traction. So skip that step and just post to your personal page, because that's who people are in business with. They're not in business with this caricature of who you are, they're in business with who you are. Right? And so social media is a big deal. Thank you all for being here today. I don't want to take up a lot of your time. Do we need to, does anybody have any new listings or needs? I want to talk inventory if we can for a quick second. I just want to touch base with the room. Who's got something that's hit the market or is coming soon that they want to share with the
I have
room?
something that's coming soon.
Okay. What do you got, Holly?
It's a 5-bedroom, 3 baths with an indoor pool.
No kidding.
Right? I don't know that's probably too, that's, and then I didn't move, like I would say that.
Okay.
This guy.
What's the price point? Do you know?
I don't know yet. He was also, he moved to Florida and selling his house.
Okay.
So I'm sure that he's going to have a very strong opinion on it, on all of it, and that's fine.
Okay. What else we got? Any other inventory?
I have the 3-bedroom with 2 primary suites on the main floor, a 3rd bedroom in the basement, and a loft area that could be turned into a 4th bedroom in Boone's Trace. It's between the 12 and 13 holes, so there's like 20 acres that you don't have to maintain, but you're totally secluded. The rest of the homes on Rivers Run are townhomes, retired, like they leave their children there with the doors unlocked, I'm talking like. Safe, it's got the guard shack, obviously, so like if you want safety, it's like beautifully maintained. You can ask for the golf cart, they got a golf cart with the home, they bought it, so they're willing to let it go with. But we're listed at $4.99, it went live like an hour ago. And then I have, these are all in Richmond. I have 2 brick ranches, one's on a walkout basement, one isn't, they're both listed at $270. They're both at the at the EKU exit or higher. The one that's not on the basement is Northern Madison County, so exit 95. It's really nice. And it's got a detached garage. So if anyone's looking for a brick ranch under 300.
Brick range under 300, that's a good deal.
Yeah.
I have a office exclusive coming next week. So it's 3 bedroom, 1 bath. It's in New Haven. It's in a gated community on a lake.
3 bed, 2 bath,
3 bed, 1 bath, sorry.
oh, 3 bed, 1 bath.
Yep. And it has like a private boat ramp. And a beach.
Is that Lake Carrington?
Hmm?
What is that? What lake is that?
It is Melody Lake, it's a man-made lake. But, yeah, Nelson,
Right. Do you know what the price point is?
it'll be 169. It actually fits, the name Nelson County is a little spelled wrong, but
Is it-
Heather Nelson listing in Nelson County.
Okay, nice. All right, anything else?
I have a couple coming up, a brick ranch in Ravenna, 3 bed, I think 1 bath, I haven't seen that. It'll probably be listed for about 200, it's on an acre.
Jackie?
So, in Ravenna.
What'd you say the price point was?
200. And then, like, Germantown, 4 bedroom, 2 bath. On 0.59 acres. It'll be listed for about 225.
Okay. All right, anything else? Believe it or not, I actually had something, my sister's house in Clark County. It's 860 Harkins. 4 bed, 2 bath. Close to the bypass for 240. It's in Winchester. All right. Great meeting, everybody. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you all. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Did you get, hold on.
Emily.